people who don't use references, and gentlemen. This is a response to user McCainisthrough and her simple facts of man-made global warming with emphasis on simple. This video purports to be a response to my Al Gore, the Real Facts on Global Warming 2009 video, which of course I'll have that on the screen as well. This user says in a distorted voice at the 24-second mark of her cut and paste, Republicans like to cite that 4 or 5 of our 50 states, I thought we had 57 states, during summer of 2009 were cooler than normal. That's 10%. Not to mention the rest of the world. I have no idea where she's getting this. I doubt she does either, but in my previous video response, I linked to a story stating, and I quote, you don't pay attention very well, do you, buddy? Little fella. Temperatures have plummeted to record or near record lows in 32 states this winter. That was from March 2009. We also have this from February 2008, again from my previous video. The U.S. National Climatic Data Center reported that many American cities and towns suffered record cold temperatures in January and early February. According to the NCDC, the average temperature in January was 0.3 degrees Fahrenheit cooler than the 1901 to 2000 average. China is surviving its most brutal winter in a century. Temperatures in the normally balmy south were so low for so long that some middle-sized cities went days and even weeks without electricity because once power lines had toppled, it was too cold or too icy to repair them. Most of my material was from April, which isn't summer. Not sure what calendar this idiot is using, or the winter months. Maybe you should actually start paying attention. Then we're subjected again to a litany of largely unreferenced material, which this user does quite a bit. Why aren't we seeing a link or a citation to these studies? The answer is obvious. The material is either made up or taken out of context by McCainisthrough. What I found funny about this video is the points it didn't cover from my previous response. Let's take them in no particular order. 1. No mention is made of Anthony Watts and the work of his and his colleagues analyzing United States Historical Climatology Network weather stations and finding many of them either not in compliance or too easily subjected to the urban heat island. No mention of Watts. If McCainisthrough is largely using terrestrial weather stations for her data, then it's probably flawed, and we know rather than do the necessary legwork to defend it, she'll either change the subject or resort to constant ad hominem. Number 2, no mention of any weather stations going offline in Siberia after the Soviet Union collapsed. This contributed to the high temperatures of the 1990s. No mention of that. McCainisthrough stressed that EnviroKooks had been muzzled, this is number 3, muzzled by the Bush administration. I provide material showing James Hansen had been given over 1,000 interviews, and the reason he was denied a certain interview with NPR was because he violated NASA protocol. It wasn't for political reasons. No mention is made of that either. I guess we'll consider that a concession. Number 4. This user never said anything about 4 of the continental U.S.'s 15 longest hurricane-free periods occurred since 1983. We were supposedly killing the planet in that time frame. No mention made of those time frames without hurricane activity or very minimal hurricane activity. Number 5. Nothing was said about volcanic activity being detected on the Arctic Ocean floor. Let's focus now on some long-term trends and not the simplifications this clown subjects us to by citing high temperatures from a given summer. Let's look at long-term climate change. Melting glaciers in western Canada are revealing tree stumps up to 7,000 years old where the region's rivers of ice have retreated to a historic minimum, a geologist said today. Johannes Koch of the College of Worcester in Ohio found the fresh-looking, intact tree stumps beside retreating glaciers. Did you get that? He found fresh-looking, intact tree stumps beside retreating glaciers in Garibaldi Provincial Park, about 40 miles north of Vancouver, British Columbia. Radiocarbon dating of the wood from the stumps revealed the wood was far from fresh. Some of it dated back to within a few thousand years of the end of the last ice age. The stumps were in very good condition, sometimes with bark preserved, said Koch. The pristine condition of the wood, he said, can be best explained by the stumps having spent all of the last 7 millennia under tens to hundreds of meters of ice. All stumps were still rooted to the original soil and location. So we've got, climate was obviously a lot different several thousand years ago when we had all these trees there. And then the glaciers took over, all without Walmart. And now the glaciers are retreating again because of man, supposedly. And they're revealing the fact that we had massive climate change there before, long before Walmart was around, before this idiot was driving a Yugo. Okay, shows you the stupidity we're dealing with here. Let's move on to the Sahara. About 6,000 to 10,000 years ago, the period of the Green Sahara, as some researchers call it, began when a fluctuation in the Earth's orbit changed African weather patterns and brought more rain to the desert. The lakes that developed, supporting 6-foot-long pikefish, turtles, crocodiles, and an array of other wildlife and human settlers. But the dunes eventually returned, swallowing for ages any record of how Stone Age people managed to thrive at the site in northern Niger. It's really the story of humanity's struggle to exist in an environment undergoing severe changes, Paul Sereno said. So we've seen, all without Walmart, the Sahara went through a massive climatological change. Reverted back to a desert, all without the intervention of modern evil inventions. Now let's look at climate change in China. Chinese researchers concluded China's warmest period, and again, I will have all the references at the right side, right over there. Click it, more info. I referenced my material. Chinese researchers concluded China's warmest period during the past 2,000 years occurred around 100 AD. That information from Geophysical Research Letters 2002. In addition, the area covered by permafrost in the Qinghai Tibet Plateau has seen numerous changes over time. It's estimated to be 1.3 to 1.6 million kilometers squared, making it the largest expanse of elevational permafrost in the world. However, 3 researchers from the Chinese Academy of Sciences report that during the megathermal period of the Middle Holocene, the total areas of permafrost then were about 40 to 50% of those at present. Do you get that? The total areas of permafrost were 40 to 50% of those at present, while mean annual air temperatures were 2 to 3 degrees centigrade higher. Likewise, they report that during the warm period of the late Holocene, the retreating of permafrost resulted in a total permafrost area of 20 to 30% less than at present, while mean annual air temperatures were 1.5 to 2 degrees centigrade warmer than at present. This means, long before evil Walmart came along, this massive area of permafrost went through a period where it shrunk and then it subsequently grew again to its present state. Again, all without the help of evil Walmart. So when McCainisthrough starts rattling off her cut and paste, unreferenced high temperatures from this summer and last summer, remember, she's not looking at the big picture. 1 or 2 years is nothing. It's a drop in the bucket concerning geological time frames. And again, all the things she avoided from the last video that she didn't touch on that I did, she just went back to the same thing, reciting her pre-canned ham rants about high temperatures. So I would ask her for references, just very so nicely. References, please. I mean, kids learn this in middle school. Don't thank us now. What a maroon.